When it comes down to lyrical content, if you're making really specific music, chances are they might shy away from it. I don't know. I can't say for sure because I've heard specific lyrics on all kinds of shows. The song is talking about what's going on in the scene. So sometimes they'll use something, hey, we just found a track that perfectly described the scene that we have and we married them together. Or we called someone, we told them what we wanted them to make and they made it for us. But one of those two scenarios. Outside of that, I would avoid being super specific in my sync licensing music. Back to my other point, I run into a lot of artists who have a ton of music. This music isn't always licensable. Why is it not always licensable? One of the things that keeps your music from being licensable is profanity or vulgar content. What do I mean by that? You don't hear a lot of Megan Thee Stallion lyrics being in sync unless it's specifically for something that was in a movie or something like that. She might get sync, but believe it or not, Lizzo gets huge sync placements because her songs lend to the visuals. They're just ambiguous enough so that you can put them in any scene. For a certain scene or a certain movie, it might work, but chances are they're not gonna put that in the Walmart ad.
Do sync companies use AI music?
Typically, what's been happening, because AI is very new, I haven't run into a company that wants to sync AI music, and most of the briefs that I receive actually say specifically no AI use, no AI melodies, no AI vocals. They're kind of against AI at this point, but there are ways around that. And if you come back, I'll explain what it is I'm talking about.
Zai had chimed in and he said he's heard so many commercials these days using AI music. Isn't this hurting sync licensing?
It absolutely is. Because when you can just hit generate and make a piece of music, so that is happening. But in this instance, a lot of the libraries, because number one, they can't confirm where the lyrics came from, and they can't confirm if the music has been interpolated from someplace else. Because I can put in a song in Suno and generate, even though you click the thing and say you own this music, you know people will be doing it anyway. I can throw that in the Suno and generate 6 other songs with the same chord changes. This is my music now. No, you dropped the reference and then it scanned that and it made you 6 copies of that. The libraries cannot confirm, because when you submit, you don't just submit them what's called a 2-track. You have to submit to some libraries in entire stems. So you might have, like, not saying like the entire session, like the Pro Tools session or the Logic session or whatever, but they'll want the drum stem, the bass stem, the vocal stems. Like, they kind of want it stemmed out. And once you start to stem stuff out in Suno, it becomes evident that this is AI. And so a lot of companies are even running it through AI checkers before, like, they do a deal with you. So we're in the wild, wild west of music again. For me, I'm still seeing great success in sync, even though AI is a thing. I kind of don't dig that the companies are blatantly just stamping out AI tracks. Nothing against Suno or all of those things. Like, yo, they sound great. But I know from having used it a lot in my process and having heard it, I know it when I hear it now. I know exactly. AI kind of has this ashy sound to it. Like, I hear it. Oh, that's AI. Absolutely.
Follow-up question is, what about SMF files?
I typically don't see SMF or OMF files very much because the library's job is to deal with the studio or the company. And so what the library typically has, that's what the studio will use. Let's say I submit a package of 10 hip hop tracks for a show or something like that. And the library takes it and they say, okay, I'll typically get a Schedule A. I'll put in the tracks, the genre, all the information, the metadata. We'll get back to that. That's coming on a subsequent stream. But I'll put all the metadata in, and then they'll ask, hey, we want to mix the full mix, the mix without the drums and bass, just the drums and the bass, just the vocal, the mix with like a TV track. So they'll ask you for all of these different types of bounces of these tracks. Pin a pin. This is something that also deters libraries from working with some artists, because I'll run into artists who are like, oh yeah, I want to get in sync. Do you have your stems from your beats? What are stems? Did you license these? Where'd you get? Oh, I got that beat from YouTube. Did you pay the producer for that? Oh no, man, it says it's free. All of these little compound things that artists neglect to do on their business end comes into play with, like, hey, you have this amazing song that the studio wants to use for their show, and now, well, we can't confirm where that beat came from. Or, hey, somebody else already copyrighted a song with that beat on it because it's free from YouTube. There's 50 songs out there with that beat. That's why I'm saying the music industry is 95% business. So if your music does not belong to you, it cannot be synced. If I were you, producer, or if I were you, artist, I would go back and start to figure out what are the deals that I have with the producers that actually created my music, and start going through those and making sure I have song splits with the writers that wrote my music, or I have adequate production contracts with the producers that produce my music, and I can produce those when the company asks me and say, hey, we got $10,000 for you, can we use your track? But we need song splits, we need the contract with the producer, or we need the information, the BMI information for the producers on the track, who wrote the song, those types of things. You have to be able to provide those. I've lost opportunities because I did not have that information on hand when they asked me, because they're not going to wait. They'll be like, yo, we're just going to the next guy. Well, here, can I get that to you tomorrow? No, never mind. We'll get it from somebody else. It's all good.